I got called a whore. I got called many names. That's why you don't have a son for your father. That's why you're a single mom and you're repeating the cycle that your mom probably went through. And I was just like, what? So first things first, I want to talk about the iced out bling that I am wearing today. So this is my first Mother's Day gift over from JBW watches. Like I said, it's my first Mother's Day gift, so I'm like super giddy and excited about it. This specific watch is the Mondorian, and it comes with a free bangle, so this is not attached, but these two pieces do come together, which I feel like is so cute. It adds like that layering effect on your wrist, so amazing. They have a lot of different styles and colors. They have rose gold, gold, silver, whatever your niche is. I typically don't wear silver, but like I said, I've just been in love. Like, I literally just want to talk the whole video like this and like just show y'all my like face. There are Mother's Day sales going on right now, so if you're looking for a Mother's Day gift, make sure you check out JBW watches. If you're just looking for a new timeless piece that you can wear on your wrist from day to day, this is also a great piece to have. And be sure to check out, you know, some of their other items as well, because you will not be disappointed. You're gonna make somebody smile this Mother's Day, and it looks amazing. Like, look at the packaging, so freaking cute. I mean, these are my extra links in case I need to elongate it, so it's adjustable if you have a, you know, thicker wrist. But yeah, it came in here, so beautiful, great packaging. When I take it off, I put it in here to keep it safe. And I love that it came with a free bangle, blinged out, rolled diamonds, Swarovski crystals. It's definitely an affordable price point. So this is my first Mother's Day gift, so I'm super, super excited. There are amazing sales and deals on the website. I'll link everything in the description box below. I'll also leave my code below, so if you put in my code, which is here, you can save some coins. So yeah, if you're looking for a Mother's Day gift, or if you're just looking for a timeless timepiece, then be sure to check them out. So the first thing I want to get into is my pregnancy. I received so many DMs when I was pregnant, when I was delivering, postpartum, asking me different questions, and I answered some people's questions. It really did get kind of overwhelming, so I was like, okay, let me just make a video and let me just share my experience with everyone, because I just have so many like notes and comments that people have left that I want to just go through, like I said, throughout the video. So the first thing was pregnancy. My little quote that I like to say in reference to my pregnancy is that I slayed it, but it slayed me, okay? Like, I did get to the point where I was able to really enjoy my pregnancy and, you know, take pictures of my journey and really just like create some fire content, you know, with my baby bump, which was amazing. And really just, it's great to just look back and have those memories. Well, first let me talk about how I found out. So I was sick. If you know me and my boyfriend, everywhere he goes, I go. So he went to an event and I was like, nah, I'm gonna just stay home. And he was like, you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know, I'm just a little tired. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna take a nap. So I was continuing to be tired. Like, I was tired all the time. I was sleepy. I was groggy, little attitude. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I haven't had a period for like 2 months. Yeah, I was just enjoying my time apparently, because it didn't even like hit me. It didn't even click like, you haven't had a period in a minute. So long story short, he was like, take a test. I'm like, what do I need to take a test for? I ain't pregnant. I was pregnant. First test I took, it was like a little faint. You know how you need 2 lines to be pregnant? It was a little, the second line was a little faint. So I was like, I ain't pregnant. It was just a little faint. Took another one and he bought the one that had the words on it, so it said pregnant. I was like, oh snap. Honestly, I couldn't even process because I felt so not myself. I just was like, oh, at least I know what it is, you know, at least I know, you know, what I'm going through or whatnot. And then like maybe a week after that, I couldn't eat anymore, so I started to lose weight, so I dropped like 25 to 30 pounds like during my first trimester, because I literally couldn't eat anything. I tried to eat crackers, ginger ale, and then you have people saying like, oh, you need to eat, you need to eat. And of course I know I need to eat. Like, clearly you can look at me and tell that I ain't missing no meals. But during that time, I really just could not eat. Like, I didn't like the smell of anything. Like, I just was one of those women who had that type of pregnancy in the beginning. Like, I couldn't eat, didn't like smells. I had him stop wearing deodorant. I mean, not indefinitely, but just like, if he showered at night, like, just not put it on at night, because he would be in the bed with me and it would just make me like want to puke. So it was a little rough my first trimester, honestly. And then literally as soon as my second trimester came, I feel like all that pretty much went away. So my second trimester is when I went to most of my doctor's appointments. Well, I started going consistently to the doctor. It kind of sucked because of COVID. I had to go to most of my doctor's appointments alone. So I heard, his first heartbeat alone, and his first sonogram when I first saw his legs and, his body move and things like that. I had to like run out because he had to sit in the hallway. At that time, they let, them sit in the hallway. They just couldn't come in the office. And then, as my pregnancy progressed, he couldn't come in at all. So he would pretty much just take me to the appointment and have to like sit in the car or like sit outside the hospital or the office while I go in. So that really, sucked. COVID just kind of like changed the game, something that couples expect to experience together. We weren't able to do so. So that kind of was a little bit frustrating, but we got through it. Pretty much all of my morning sickness went away. There was no more throwing up. My first meal back was a hamburger. I hadn't eaten red meat in like 5 years before I got pregnant, but I just was craving a burger. So that was my first meal back, which is so crazy. Like, you went from eating nothing to a burger. But I had a little mini burger. It was amazing. Probably the best burger I had in my life, honestly. Second trimester, I could eat again. I started feeling better, so I wanted to, start documenting my progress. I wasn't really showing much at first, but I could see like a little bulge at the bottom, and I was like, okay, bet. Like, I was like really excited. I started, feeling normal again. So again, I started feeling excited. We were shut down. This was during the time where we like recently shut down, so I wasn't really leaving the house much, so nobody really knew. It wasn't like I had to turn down drinks and I couldn't go out, and things like that, because everybody was pretty much at home. Found out I was having a boy. I cried. Hormones, I guess. I mean, I really wanted a girl, like, for sure. Like, I know I wanted a girl, but I think hormones really had me like I literally cried that whole night, like, oh my God, I'm having a boy. Like, I just knew I would have a baby girl and I would be able to dress her like me, and I would be able to, style her little outfits and mini me and all this other stuff. So it was rough. And speaking of hormones, like, I won't say like I'm a really tough person, but I wouldn't say that I'm so sensitive to the point that I would cry every day. When I was pregnant, there were stretches where I would cry like every day. I was just like, I don't even know why I'm crying. Like, it's real. Like, I just feel like sometimes you see movies and you see pregnant people and it's like, you might be being a little dramatic. No, it's not. They're not being dramatic. It's like real. Like, real. Okay? Like, real. Second trimester probably was my best trimester. That's when I took most of my photos. Specifically towards the end, because that's when my baby bump came in. I did announce that I was pregnant in my second trimester, and I'm so appreciative of like all the love that I received when I was pregnant. Like, so much love, so much encouragement, especially on my pictures. Like, it just felt good to see, people being very supportive, people that I don't know. But along with love comes the hate. Like, I remember people saying that I was a whore. Mind you, these are people who I didn't follow, so I don't know these people. But of course, there's always people who you don't know on social media who have the most to say. But yeah, I remember someone calling me a whore because they said, I didn't have a kid from my father. I mean, a kid from my father. I didn't have a father for my child. I don't really post my child's father online. I mean, that's just a part of me that I like to just keep private. That's just how I am. So yeah, I got called a whore. I got called many names. That's why you don't have a son for your father. That's why you're a single mom and you're repeating the cycle that your mom probably went through. And I was just like, what? Like, luckily, out of everything that I cried about, that just wasn't one of the things that I cried about. But I just started to think, like, what if I was a single mom? Or what if, that was something I was struggling with? Or what if this really damaged me? Like, it's just kind of sad, the things that people say to women when they're pregnant. Like, it's really wild to me. Like, even if it's just something so simple, like, I got a lot because I talked about not being able to eat in the beginning of my pregnancy. There was a lot of backlash for me being too small. Like, oh, how are you pregnant and you so small, or you don't look pregnant anymore. And then somebody even asked, like, are you still pregnant? And I'm like, what? Especially when it was men, because I'm like, you don't even know, like, the process of a female body. Like, what? Yeah, so definitely, if you're sharing, and especially if you have a bigger following, even if you don't have a bigger following, people can just be rude. I don't know, I think that people can be really intrusive when you're pregnant. Like, not just like, oh, how's the baby, how are you doing, or oh, you look nice, or whatever. Like, just asking somebody, like, are you still pregnant? Like, there are instances where people do lose their children, and it's really sad, and it sucks that, people have to deal with that because they decide to share a moment, which is typically why I'm so private, and I get anxiety about sharing things sometimes, because I don't know, people can just be so rude, and they can scrutinize, you, and not even realize how they're hurting you. I mean, of course, there's people who are intentional and, they really don't care that they're hurting you. But then there's people who just don't know what to say out their mouth. Like, point blank, period. I felt very supported in my pregnancy, and I knew what they were saying wasn't true, so it really didn't bother me. But it just really made me think about other women, other people who may not have a child for their father for whatever reason, or may have been in, situations that made them uncomfortable, or may have just been really emotional. Like, it's just crazy what people say to pregnant women, or, oh my God, you so big, when I was pregnant, blah, 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 or you need to do this instead of doing that. And I really do appreciate advice, but sometimes the unsolicited advice was a lot. And I got a lot of that, like, my second trimester, like, when I really did start showing, and when I did tell people I was pregnant. It's just like, like, I don't know. Just be careful what you say to pregnant women. Like, have a filter there, So that was my second trimester. Third trimester is when I started to gain my weight. I had my baby shower in the beginning of my third trimester. I had like a drive-through. I just wanted to be extra safe. So I had a drive-through baby shower. And, people drove through, left their gifts. A few people, got out and took pictures. I got stung by a bee, like, right in my belly. So I was, like, tripping out, like, oh, my God, I got stung by a bee. But everything was fine. It was what it was. Really pretty shower. A lot of people couldn't make it, so that kind of sucked. But I mean, I did understand that we were literally like smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. This was when everything kind of like first closed, so people were really, afraid to leave the house and things like that. So a lot of people sent gifts. We were very blessed. I still haven't bought diapers. My son is 6 months and I haven't purchased diapers yet. So yeah, we were really blessed, and I'm really thankful for everybody that sent love and gifts and cards and well wishes and things like that. So yeah. So yeah, third trimester, I just really focused on, I was eating, I ate, like I wasn't like, oh, I gotta eat a salad, oh, I gotta worry about weight, oh, no, all that went out the door. I gained every pound that I lost in my first trimester, I gained it back. I ate, I just chilled out. It was summertime, so we would go to the beach like really early in the morning, before anybody else was there, because that was pretty much the only way that I could get out the house. So we would just go to the beach and hang out, and when people started to come, we typically left. I definitely started to rest then, because my body was like, hey, chill out. And yeah, that was pretty much my third trimester. So now we're going to get into my delivery experience. My water broke 4 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't like the movies where it was just like whoosh, like ooh, mad water just coming out. It wasn't like that. For me, it was just like a little trickle, like I peed on myself. But it was like I peed on myself and I couldn't stop to pee. But I did have to go check because I was peeing like a mug at the end of my pregnancy. Like, did I pee on myself? But no, I saw like the little sack after I used the bathroom. So I saw it and then I was like, okay, yeah, it's go time. So we already had our stuff packed and everything. So we got in the car. We left. I did stay home for a little bit. Just because I didn't want to be like laid in the bed for so long, so we stayed home for a little bit, and then we went to the hospital and I was having contractions and triage and they were like asking me all these questions and I was like, y'all just get me back there, pretty much. Like they really expect you to answer all these questions. Wow, I'm doing too much. They really expect you to answer all these questions while you're literally having contractions. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like my boyfriend stepped in and he answered, you know, as many questions as he could, but it was still like a lot going on. I did have to get a COVID test, and that was actually my first time getting a COVID test during my whole pregnancy. So they did give me a COVID test before I was able, because I think they had a COVID wing. So before they like give you your room, they make sure you, just to see where they should put you in the hospital. So yeah, long story short, I went in, I was 5 centimeters dilated when I got there. No, in about an hour, I was like 10 centimeters dilated. However, they said he was trying to come out with his arm first. So basically he wasn't coming out like normal. So instead of them trying to turn him, because his heart rate started dropping, my temperature went up. So my temperature was like 102. So they had to give me medicine to like try and get my temperature to go down. So the doctor was pretty much like, we're gonna have to do an emergency C-section. Boop, again, started crying, tears started flowing. Just because of COVID, we weren't able to take like prenatal classes and like, you know, learn about what to do and things like that. So all the information we got were from books or looking certain things up online. But the one thing that we did get to do virtually was birthing classes, in terms of like how to have a, you know, natural birth. And I just started crying because I'm like, I spent so much time like, you know, working on my own plan, which with babies, you quickly learn that your plan means crap because they gonna do what they want to do. Like, you know, like life changes just so much. Anyway, but anyway, we spent so much time doing natural birthing classes. That was like what we spent most of our time doing. And then we got there and he was like, oh, we're gonna have to do a C-section. And I just started thinking about, and it's really selfish to think about, but I mean, women just sacrifice so much when they have children. Like, your body's not your own. And then it's like, to get a C-section, I was just like, oh my God, like I have to, like the healing time for this is crazy, like the scars, all of those things. So all of that just, like, I just wasn't prepared for that. And I'm a very like organized in my brain kind of person. I like to know on vacation, I'm the one with the itinerary. So yeah, I'm just that person. So it's like, that just wasn't in my plan. So it just really like caught me for a loop. So anyway, I cried. My doctor literally looked at me like, we gonna get him out safely, you know. That's what really made me say, okay, whatever, you know, I'm safe, my kid is safe. So many people, you know, don't come out of this situation, you know, as blessed as I am. So I really just tried to look for the positives in the situation, and that's pretty much what got me through that. So we went, I got my guts ripped out, you know, baby was born. And this was the part that I really wanted to talk about. Was at birth, I really just expected him to come out and I'm like crying and I'm like, oh my God, my baby. And for me, it just wasn't that way. I just feel like the whole C-section experience kind of took that away from me. It was just a lot. Like, I didn't even get to hold my baby until an hour after he was born. He had to go get, you know, cleaned up and everything, and then they were sewing me up, and then they had to move me out of the room and go put me in a holding place until they got a real room for me to go to. And then while they were doing that, they had the baby and they were, you know, doing everything with him. So it was just a lot going on. And then by the time I finally got to hold him, I just felt so like drained, you know. I couldn't eat and everything. So I just felt just very overwhelmed, and that wasn't my expectation of my experience. I just expected to just feel so much more connected and cry and snot and like, oh my God, where were you all my life, and I couldn't live without you before. Like, I just didn't really have that experience, and that kind of made me sad. And I was like, am I wrong for not having this experience? Am I wrong for not feeling this way? Am I wrong for not feeling, vulnerable and, crying when my baby's here? So it was overwhelming amount of emotions. Like, my legs were like this big. Like, it was just a crazy experience, man. Kudos to all the moms, like, because it's rough. Even just in the hospital, just birth, like, rough. After we got to, our room and everything, we started breastfeeding, which I knew nothing about breastfeeding. I literally just thought that I would go in, take out my boob, pop it in his mouth, boom, we rocking and we rolling. Nope, didn't go that way. My boobs are pretty heavy, so breastfeeding was a struggle. It was really hard. I was producing milks or colostrum, so that wasn't, the problem. The problem was really a latching thing. So we didn't get him to latch on really well in the hospital without help. Like, I needed, the lactation specialist to come in and help. So my baby ended up losing like a pound, I think, and which is significant to them. So they had him under watch. They wanted to keep us in the hospital an extra day because they was like, he's losing weight too fast. And I was like, it's not, it was literally, I don't know, that was probably just the most frustrating thing, was just figuring out breastfeeding and making sure my child could eat, because I felt very incompetent. I felt very displeased with myself. I'm like, wow, I can't feed my child. Like, oh my gosh. Like, again, hormones, all that added to it. So I just felt terrible. And I was like, I don't want to give him formula. Which there's nothing wrong with giving your child formula if that's what you have to do, which is what I had to realize. Luckily, I was able to, still be able to breastfeed, still breastfeeding. But for some people, it doesn't work that way. And I had to realize it's okay. Like, like my mom didn't breastfeed, and then my boyfriend's mom did. So it was like, I don't know, like, I just kind of felt pressured from like society standard of what you're supposed to do as a mom to, like, you gotta breastfeed your child. So I just felt, I don't know, it was just very overwhelming. We got home and I still struggled with breastfeeding for probably about the 2 weeks. So I cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't feed my baby. And one thing I do want to point out is really just being so blessed to have such a supportive partner, because he got me through like pregnancy when it was rough. He got me through birth when it was rough, like delivery when it was rough. He was able to speak on my behalf and advocate for me when I was, having contractions and things like that. And, coming home when I was distressed and when I'm like, wow, I can't do these things. He's like, do you know what you just did? Like, that's the hardest part. Like, you just did that. So, you can do this, X, Y, Z now. Like, so, yeah, it was, for me, it was definitely a journey. I'm so blessed that my experience was my experience, because I've realized so many women go through so much more, in their pregnancies. To anybody watching this video who is pregnant or who is thinking of getting pregnant, I really wish you many blessings, and I, hope that, your pregnancy goes amazingly. And honestly, my whole pregnancy journey was amazing. Like, I mean, I had my bumps in the road, but considering, what a lot of moms go through, like, I'm really blessed to have gone through what I went through. My baby was born, he was healthy, he, it wasn't my ideal situation, but he still came out healthy. I came out healthy. I was, able to heal, swiftly, and, I'm just really blessed, and it got hard, and it was hard. The sleepless nights, I feel like I haven't slept in a year, but the sleepless nights, the, breastfeeding, just being attached to my baby 24/7, couldn't go to the store, couldn't like do anything, like learning, this is my first child. So just really learning how to freaking take care of another human that, can't talk, can't walk, everything that comes with motherhood is such a blessing, but it's definitely a huge responsibility, and it's definitely something that takes work. You don't, there's no perfect mom, and we got to be easier on ourselves in terms of that. I also do want to mention a lot of my distress came from I was finishing a degree, so I had my baby during midterms. I was working full-time. I was also part-time influencing, as well as part-time owning, a business. So having my clothing store, shipping out items and things like that. So I had all those things going on while still, having a newborn baby for the first time, and, kind of being like a fish out of water, really. So it caused a lot of stress on me, and I think that's what led to, I didn't have postpartum depression, because I did, talk to my doctor. We filled out a paper and everything, but I did have baby blues. So there were days where I felt, really like I couldn't do it, honestly. Like it was just hard. It was hard, not necessarily being a mom, but really just, you leave the hospital and your life is literally so different when you come home. And I don't know, I think because I'm so organized, I expected to fit him into my schedule versus me having to now fit into his schedule, really. So it definitely took some time, and it took some learning, and it gets better every day. I don't deal with baby blues anymore, but in terms of just taking care of an infant and being a mom, I just think it gets, I won't say easier every day, but I will say it gets more familiar every day. It's something that's totally new. Anytime you do anything new, it can be tough, So I would just say stay encouraged, try and be around, even though we're still kind of in the pandemic, just try and be around positive energy. Do things that work for you. Don't let society and other people's experiences shape who you think you need to be as a mom. Be the best that you can be, and give your child what you feel your child needs, but don't, feel like, hey, since my mom did this, or my friend does this, or social media says this, like, you will go insane. But yeah, overall it's been such a pleasant experience. Like I said, the more the time goes on, I just feel so much more blessed and happy. Like just seeing my kid grow up, and they grow up so fast, because at first I was like, oh my God, I can't wait until he's like 3 years old, so then I could. But it's like 6 months came in like 2 days. So yeah, we just celebrated his 6 months, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I literally have a 6-month-old, and he's just so beautiful. He's so huge. It feels great being a mom. It feels great, walking into the room, and he just lights up when he sees me and just smiles and giggles, and, gives me kisses in the morning already. They slob all over my face, When I got my Meek Mill cornrows in, he's like, that's my mama. But yeah, it's a beautiful experience. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this video was helpful to some people. I hope it was insightful to some people. Hopefully entertaining to people who have no, desire to have children right now. Take your time. And yeah, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Leave down in the description box some of your experiences, if you share some similar experiences to me, or even if you think that some of your experience will help new moms or anyone pregnant, because I found that, like I said on Instagram, people were really, especially because there's so many people pregnant right now, like people were really interested in hearing what I had to say in terms of pregnancy. So if you have any stories to share that can shed some positive light, because I know sometimes you hear all the negatives, but that can shed some positive light on your experience or can help anybody who is pregnant, make sure you share those down below. Happy early Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. You're amazing. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Stay tuned for my next video. I'll be back soon. So yeah.